So if I can just then kick it off with comments from my own review. The conclusions for the review I chaired for the UK Treasury were that in the short term, we felt from our work that we should be focusing very strongly on bringing some of the existing vehicle technology to market, that actually within 10 years we could be seeing 30% improvement in emissions from pretty much conventional automotive technologies, and that these would be cost effective for the motorist. But given the way we see car buyers behaving, we actually need regulatory targets and also consumer incentives to make sure that these technologies and these efficiency improvements are brought to market. We saw that biofuels could have a very important role to play, but that we felt it would always be a limited one. It's not the silver bullet that some people have seen them as being, and that before we drive up the market for biofuels, it's absolutely essential that we have the right standards and monitoring in place. We think there is a big challenge in delivering the potential significant benefits from us as consumers making better choices and actually behaving differently in the way we drive. And we made recommendations in relation to incentives, information, and indeed right down to the level of putting this into our education system. The medium-term view was that we thought there was potential for 50% reduction in emissions per kilometre with growing use of plug-in hybrid and electric vehicle technologies, but that the new challenge here is that these then become significantly more expensive technologies. And in the long term, there is a vision of a very clean future with electric vehicles or possibly hydrogen, but that absolutely requires that we have clean power generation. And that's an issue that governments must address now, because the timescales for that and for some of the technology developments there, such as carbon capture and storage, are much longer than those in the automotive industry. One of the important policy areas that we spent some time thinking about in my report was increased government funding for some of the low-carbon technology R&D. And indeed, I think it would be very interesting to explore people's feeling about that, particularly for some of the high-cost technology, the higher-cost technologies, for example, plug-in hybrids and electric vehicles. The future looks disruptive, but we wanted also to remind the industry of the enormous potential in terms of the new markets that will be opening up in Asia, bigger car markets than we've ever seen before. And the importance, therefore, of starting collaboration now with the developing economies. And indeed, stressing very strongly in the report that there was need for action by governments, industry, and consumers. And indeed, for those of you who've been looking at the Shell scenarios, very much along the lines that Shell are proposing in their future energy scenario, which they call Blueprint, which is about how we can make more rapid progress by governments and companies and consumers working together. So that's a very, very quick review of the conclusions from my report.